So our team, Adele, Kaisha, and me, Hector, had Karen Horney. There's a picture of her. She was born in the 19th century in a little town in Germany, and since she was very young, 13, she began taking notes on her parents' problematic relationship. This was her first recorded empirical observations, which would later become the basis of her work and her interest in psychoanalysis. You could say that Horney definitely changed the way women are viewed in society as well as in psychology. She was definitely one of the most significant thinkers of her time and one of the first women to ever study psychoanalysis. She said that male realities cannot describe female psychology or define their gender because they are not informed by girls' or women's experiences. So she definitely further developed the idea of introspection, which, as mentioned in class, is the breaking down of consciousness and the idea of looking into one's own mind and private experiences when studying human behavior. So, when we look at the historical relevance Karen had on psychology, one key point was that Karen Horney was actually the first woman to propose the theory of feminine psychology during the 20th century, where there was a shift in social, political, and economic ideals, but also a time where Sigmund Freud dominated psychology. She definitely rejected the Freudian theory, which was predominantly centered around men at the time, particularly the psychosexual stages. The phallic stage, where it was said that penis envy developed. She later replaced that for womb envy, which is the idea that men envy women's ability to give life, basically. One thing both Freud and Karen agreed on is summarized in an article written by Michel Badillo named Theories of Personality. The psychoanalytic social theory was built on the assumption that social and cultural conditions, specifically childhood experiences, are largely responsible for shaping personality. This very much ties into behavior analysis, particularly ABA in the sense where we believe environmental factors such as social and cultural conditions determine behavior. Horney's theories, which went against Freud's, later became known as Neo-Freudianism. So, about one of her most important contributions, which was the theory of neurosis, Horney defined neurosis as a psychic disturbance brought by fears and defenses against these fears, and by attempts to find compromise solutions for conflicting tendencies. So basically, she said that neurosis is an inner conflict that comes from a problematic parental relationship during childhood, where the child perceived a lack of warmth and affection or rejection. Perception is a key word because she emphasized that it was not necessarily the way it was, but more how the child perceived it. Uh, it was centered around the child's reality and not the other person's realities. So this resulted in a child having severe autocriticism and unreal and unreachable ideals of self-image, which then at the same time resulted in a repressed concept of self. So this altogether would result in a child having neurotical needs or later developing as neurosis. The neurotical needs, according to Karen Horney, are dealt with in different ways. One of the ways is compliance, and the needs that are dealt with being compliant are the need of affection and approval, having a powerful partner, the need for prestige, and personal admiration, which is related to narcissism. A neurotic personality of aggression would involve the need for power and the need to exploit others. And Withdrawal, which is another neurotic personality, would involve the need for personal achievement, self-sufficiency, perfection, and the need to limit life with narrow borders, to live inconspicuously. So these were the three neurotical personalities according to Karen Horney. And again, here we see the stages or the needs linked to the personality that it belongs to. She did say that self-realization was possible and it could be achieved by having the correct ideals within the possible spectrum. So those were her main contributions to science, and these are our sources. Thank you very much for listening.